So today a bit of another video. I have done some lightfastness tests on colored pencils and I wanted to share the results with you. So I had half of them in a drawer and the other half was behind a window facing west. Why not south, you may ask? Because we don't have a south facing window, so west it is. I basically made this light fast test because when I was making the huge drawing with colored pencils, I realized many colored pencils were not light fast, and so I just wanted to check how mine were doing. And so these have been sitting for 2 years in my window. So this should give you a good idea. It's not the most scientific way of doing it. Normally you would want to check every couple of months, which I did, but I didn't write anything about it. Okay, so let's start with the Polychromos. Now, if you can see, there's a lot of fading, and there's a lot of very visible fading and some less so. Now, the paper itself did fade and it became yellowish. So you have to keep that in mind when comparing colors. I'm going to scan these and put them on my website and leave a link below because I feel like that can be quite useful. You also have to keep in mind the Polychromos I used are Polychromos that I had that I received as a teenager, and they changed their formula. I might say here the purple, the new version, those two new versions are more light fast than the old one, which has almost completely faded. Now, when I look fast like this, no surprise here, the earth reds are fine, the browns are fine, the black sepia are fine, the gray is good. Now, what is surprising is that all the blues have changed a bit. The paper is yellowed and actually they look more greenish, so it might be the paper, to be honest. I'm very surprised that the paper did change as much color-wise. I did not expect that. I did use a paper that was acid-free, so yeah, I'm a bit surprised about that. But the blue are mostly fine, you can still see them. Maybe not the cobalt light. I feel like this one is probably not the best. Now the greens, a lot of the greens are really bad, so I assume it's the yellow. And also this one, the juniper green, which is a new one, there's some noticeable fading. Now the light blue looks awful. It completely faded. It doesn't exist anymore. It's that one, and it was marked as just 1 star, so that's coherent. The reds, most of them have faded. Now the permanent carmine is all rightish. I feel like it has faded, but it's okay. The geranium as well. The dark carmine I feel like is not that bad. And the canary has a bit faded, but not too much. Orange yellow a little bit as well. Now lemon doesn't exist anymore. Lemon cadmium is very good. No change at all. And here in the earth yellow ones, the gold ochre has actually faded a bit, and the raw umber has changed colors. So yeah, so as you can see, a lot of them have actually faded. And again, I'm just going to scan this, so if you want to take a look, just please bear in mind, most of these are old Polychromos. So I feel like if you have some, maybe test them yourself, or I'm not sure. But yeah, that's for Polychromos. Now the next one is a Koh-I-Noor set that I bought when I was in the Czech Republic, because that's their brand basically. And I have actually sold these because I was expecting them to fade, to be honest. But I have to say they're not that bad. The black, grey, Indian red, brown, dark green, grass green, bice green, pea green has faded. Light blue is good, dark blue is mostly okay. Cobalt blue is awful, especially if you use the word cobalt, which is supposed to be a pigment that is very light fast. And even though usually cobalt hues are made either with ultramarine or phthalo, so I'm not sure why it faded so much, but it did. Prussian blue is mostly alright. The yellow is fine, and dark ochre and orange. So it's not all that bad, to be honest. It was the regular Koh-I-Noor, the 24 sets. Now, next in line is also Koh-I-Noor, but the Progresso 12 set, and so the Progresso set, these are the 4 lead colors, and this is kind of interesting because some of them have done really well. The light yellow, orange, vermilion, also dark blue, hooker's green, sap green, and brown and black, but the light blue and the carmine have completely disappeared. So that's kind of interesting. So this was a small Caran d'Ache set, but it was the most basic ones for kids. It was a 12 set that I bought on holiday, just these here. It's done okay. So the yellow, that dark blue, it didn't have any names, so I didn't have any names because mostly for kids really. But yellow, blue, dark blue is fine. Both greens are okay, although the light green has visibly faded. And then, of course, brown and black is fine. The grey has changed a bit in colors, so that's kind of odd. For the Prismacolors, I actually arranged them according to their Lightfastness. So I expected these to be Lightfast, and honestly, they're mostly Lightfast. Peach 939 has visibly changed colors and is less pinkish and more yellowish. Might be the paper, but I don't think so if you compare it to the others. And then Ginger Root has become more greenish. Apart from that, all the others are actually really fine. I really like how all the carmines and scarlets, the reds are actually really good. I'm really pleased with how the Prismacolors are doing here. So the next line of Prismacolors. So I mean, right off the bat, I feel like the Prismacolors are doing much better than my old Polychromos set. So yeah. Of course, as I said, these were supposed to be very light fast. So I don't see a lot of fading. All the grays seem okay, the blues as well. Yeah, no fading at all in these. So all the browns, all these blues, greens, turquoises, grey, yeah, those are fine. Okay, now we arrive slowly to the low ASTM ratings, because as I said, I did arrange them like that. So the bronze, gold, silver, etc., those are good, and those had good ratings. And if you can see, yeah, all of these have terrible ratings, and apart from the violets 932, which I think is okay actually, it's not too bad, it didn't fade all that much. All the rest has faded visibly or changed colors. I mean, the Tuscan red has changed colors, but it actually, I think it looks nicer. But yeah, it changed colors too. Cerulean has yellowed. The muted turquoise has become more bluish, so the yellow probably just left. And I feel like the Saladin green is not that bad. It has faded and the color is not as green. Like you have a hint of green here, but not there. Yeah, so no surprise here. They were supposed to fade and they did fade. The spring green, actually, I don't see any change on the spring green. So I feel like the spring green is really okay. And then, of course, the neon colors have faded to nothing. The orange as well. That being said, the pale vermilion, which has a low rating, is actually doing fine. So yeah, I'm really surprised by that. I was expecting them to all fade at least. So it's not all that bad. Prismacolor honestly is not that bad. Especially, I just followed their own ASTM rating. So if you follow their rating, then you should be fine. Whereas with Polychromos, that was not the case. So yeah, big disappointment. However, again, my Polychromos set is 20 years old, so maybe the newer versions are better. Now we're going to check the VanGogh colored pencils, and I've read that these were great. And I think you can now buy them open stock on Jackson's. I saw that, but I bought the set when it was on sale in a Belgian shop. So it came in this tin, and basically these are all the colors. And I mostly bought them because I knew they were really light fast. So that's why I got them. But I must admit, I find them not as nice to use as the Luminance from Caran d'Ache, and that's why I didn't really use them. But now that I see how well they did, I might rethink it. So these was the drawer and this was outside, and here the paper did not yellow, so this is going to be a little bit better to compare. But yeah, they all did fine, but for Azure Blue 526, which has some very light change of colors, it became more greenish. But all the rest, I'm really impressed with all the pinks. No fading at all. No fading on the yellows either. So yeah, really, really good pencils. I'm not really surprised because that's why I bought them. And I know that basically they wanted, or they implemented the whole ASTM rating for colored pencils. And so that's why it was their selling point. And usually, I'm not sure why, but anything that Talent does is not super well loved by most artists, but they do really good quality products at a very fair price. So if you're looking for light fast colored pencils, I would really encourage you to get not necessarily the whole set, but a few that you might like. And here the rest of the set. Oh, so you have some very, very visible fading on the turquoise blue. It was a nice sky blue and it basically became turquoise blue, so that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure if I don't like the faded color better, but yeah, something to keep in mind, maybe not use that one for your final artworks. So this has faded, and also the gold ochre has become more orangey. So it's definitely more yellow than the one that was kept in the drawer. But that's it. So from the 60 colored pencils, 3 have changed colors, but no actual complete fading or poor color choices. So yeah, I would highly recommend them if you're looking for a fair-priced colored pencil. I also got their watercolor pencils because, yeah, as I said, it was on sale on that shop and it was also a tin, and I figured, why not? Let's spend some more money. So it also comes... I didn't show you the other one, but you have basically 2. Now, watercolor pencils tend to be even less light fast than the regular ones. And from what I see here, I would agree. So there is some dramatic fading on the permanent red medium, the scarlet as well, and the permanent red deep. So all of these have visibly faded. And then you also have some visible fading on azure blue, like the colored pencils. And honestly, a lot of blues. The blue-green has changed colors, the phthalo blue-green has changed colors, the King's blue has changed colors and faded. Ultramarine has changed colors, as has phthalo blue red, violet as well, permanent violet medium as well. So yeah, a lot more fading and changing colors than the colored pencils. So I'm not sure I would, unless you pick and choose like specific colors, maybe don't use them all. And the last few, so turquoise blue has visibly faded. It's almost nothing left. Same for Sèvres green light. Turquoise green has changed a little bit. Emerald green has faded visibly, as has phthalo green light, and raw sienna has become more greenish. So yeah, so you have a few that have faded, and again I'm going to scan these all so you have a chance to pick and choose, if you're interested, of course. And last but not least, the Luminance from Caran. It's again that paper that has become yellowish, and I really apologize for that. It wasn't supposed to. So you have to keep that in mind. I don't see any fading. Maybe the quinacridone pourpre 115 has yellowished slightly, but it might be the paper, I'm not certain. It has not faded at least, but I feel like the color has changed a bit. But that's all. Everything else is perfectly fine. I'm really happy with these colored pencils, are my favorite to use. I really like how they are, but they're also very expensive. So I would have been annoyed, to say the least, to see that they have faded. So this is the Lightfastness test I've made over 2 years. I really hope you found this useful. I'm going to add a link in the description box to a blog post with scanned images of these, so you can pick and choose and maybe buy them open stock or in a set. Lightfastness really just matters if you sell your finished artwork. If you're just using colored pencils for your sketchbook or for artworks that you're going to scan, then it's not much of an issue. And then I would just say try a few different brands and use those that you like to use the most. I personally really love the Luminance from Caran. Yeah, I'm going to keep using these, and I'm probably also going to be using these a little bit more, apart from the 2 or 3 that were not as light fast. So yeah, that's kind of my choice. If I had to... The Prismacolors, honestly, I was really surprised by them, and yeah, they're really good as long as you follow their rating. And the rating isn't on the pen itself, you have to go search for it on their website. If I can find it, I'm going to add that as well. But yeah. Prismacolors are nice, the VanGogh, the VanGogh pencils are good, and yeah, the Luminance are still my favorite. Hope that helps. Thank you so much for watching. A bit of different video today, I must admit, but I hope you liked it. And yeah, see you in my next one. Bye!